Hello, Stampers. Happy Sunday. I'm Jennifer Kirk. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator from Guelph, Ontario. I'm just refreshing my page here to make sure that everything is working and that you can see me. And where are you? It's not here, but it says that I'm live. All right, there we are. Okay, I found you. So today we are going to go through how to make this card. So this is called a trifold shutter card. It's a fancy fold card. It is really simple to make, although it doesn't look like it's all that simple. And it will fit into a standard envelope. So I was inspired by Dawn Griffith to do this card. So if you check out her website, she did a couple of different ones with some from the annual catalog. And I decided to try and turn it into a Christmas card. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. So we're going to be making this card today. But before we get into that, I want to, if I can find where I put it, give you a little sneak peek. So guess where I was yesterday? Ta-da! It's the new occasions. We're calling it a mini catalog. This will go active in January, along with our famous celebration sales. So we were at Onstage yesterday. We got to play with some of the products. And let me tell you, it is gorgeous. I am so excited for you guys to be able to share that. Unfortunately, I can't open up the catalog. We're not allowed to, but I can show you the cover. And this is the celebration. So this will be active January 3rd. Celebration is to March 31st. So I'll be talking more about that a little bit later. So I just want to let you guys know that there's some really cool and beautiful things coming. Here's a couple of stamp sets that I won in Onstage. So the Forever Blossoms, beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. Oh, that's in French, but there's an English one which I just didn't pull out. So there's a tulip one with some really beautiful sayings, a breathtaking bouquet background stamp, and some peaceful moments. So very, very exciting to get to be able to start to play with these. So, okay. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go through, I have so much stuff here. We're going to go through the measurements that we need. Okay, so for this card, I'm going to put it here so you can see. Hopefully I'm in the right spot. All right. All right, so for this card, we're using Very Vanilla for the base. So you want to cut this at 5.5 by 10.5. Okay, so 5.5 by 10.5. We are going to layer this with a piece of Night of Navy. So you're going to cut this one at 5.25 by 10.25. And then we're going to layer that. This card does use a lot of paper. We are going to layer that by a piece of this gorgeous DSP. And that is cut at 5 by 10. Make sure when you do have a pattern that it matters what direction it's going, that you cut the long side so that your baubles are going the right way. You don't want to cut it this way and have your card sideways, okay? When you're dealing with some of the other papers out of this amazing package, okay, this is the Brightly Gleaming DSP. When you're dealing with some of the other papers in here, like the stars, it won't matter what direction you're going, okay? That won't matter what direction. That does. That wouldn't. All right, so it's really only the baubles that matter. You don't want to do what I did and waste paper by cutting it the wrong way. Your card would look awfully funny. So that's the DSP that we're going to be using, and these are the measurements. Okay, so let's get started. we are going to take the, we're going to start with our base card here first, okay? And we're going to bring in our trimmer. What we're going to do, okay, is we're going to put the 5.5 inch at the top, and we're going to move it over to 1 1/4. Okay, so you measure it over to 1 1/4. Okay, and it's awfully hard for me anyway on this to see. I'm going to just move it over a little bit so I can see and don't have my head in the camera. We're going to cut from 1 3/4 down to 8 3/4. Okay, so what I do is I line this up at the 1 3/4 mark, line this up at the 1 1/4 mark, make sure I'm straight. Okay, so there we go, we're straight. So 1 3/4. Now I just push my blade down, and then we're going to bring it down to 8 3/4. And I'm just going to put my finger here so that I can see that without having to get into your face. All right, so that's the first one. And then we're going to turn it around, flip it. I'm going to do the exact same thing. So we're going to put this to 1 3/4. We're going to put our paper at 1 1/4. Put it down, adjust it, make sure that we're straight. Lock it down. You want to hold it tight. Make sure we're at 1 3/4 still. Push it down into the paper and go down to 8 3/4. All right. So we're going to have 2 cuts just like this. All right. Now we're going to take the 10.5 piece on the top, move our cutting blade, and now we're going to do some scoring. Okay. So we're going to move this. We're going to put this down at 1 3/4. All right. And then we are going to score from 1, hold on, am I doing this right? Moved. And we're going to score between the score lines. Okay, so you're going to go to 1 1/4. Put it down, and you're going to score to 4 1/4. Okay. 1 1/4 to 4 1/4. All right, so you can see we're just scoring between our cut lines here. Okay. We are going to need this arm out, so I might as well do that right now. I don't have a lot of room on my desk here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to move this to 3.5. So move this to 3.5. Okay, line it up at 3.5, and then we're going to score the whole thing. Okay, so 3.5, score. And then we're going to move it along to 7 inches, and we're going to score all the way up and down. And then we're going to move this to 8 3/4, which is right here, and we're going to score between our 2 cut lines again. So it'll be about 1 1/4 to 4 1/4, and we just score all on there. Okay, so now I'm going to move the trimmer out of the way for a minute. As I throw it on the floor. Oh, that's not good for a trimmer. Okay, so now we're going to fold this. So, and I always mess this up, but we're going to, the first fold is going to go up. Okay. The second fold is going to go down. The third fold is going to go up. And the fourth fold is going to go down. Let's see. Hopefully I did this correctly. Okay. And we want these to go like that. Voila. There you go. And then you would take your bone folder. Mine is really gross. I haven't cleaned it from making those baubles. Was it last week or the week before? I can't remember. So I really do need to get that up and clean it. Okay, so that's, and as you can see, it's just going to sit like this. Okay, folds down. So that's our base. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our layers. Okay, so we're going to take our 5 1/4 by 10 1/4, and we're going to bring in our thingy again. All right, and we're going to use the 5 1/4. I'll just get my sticky notes all out of the way because I can never remember numbers, so I have to do cheat sheets. So we're going to have the short end at the top. Okay, we're going to move in 1 inch, and we're going to set the cutter to 1 1/2. So we're going to move this out of the way, and we're going to put this at 1 1/2. Okay, and we're at 1 inch. Push it down, 1 1/2. We're good, and we're going to bring this down to 8 3/4. I will put all of these measurements in the notes below the blog, or below the video. So here we go. We're at 1 inch. We just flipped it around. We're at 1 1/2. I put it down. Make sure my paper is straight. Okay, put it down and cut down to 8 3/4. There we are. Okay, so we have 2 cuts like this, and then we're going to flip it around this way. We're going to line up at 1 1/2 inches. Okay, basically what we're doing is we're making a big rectangle. All right, so I'm going to bring this down at 1. Okay, and it should be lined up with your previous cut line, and we're going to cut down to the next cut line. And you should be able to feel it. And if you don't feel it, then you just want to make sure you got a pair of snips handy that you can just go in and cut the corner down. So again, line this up at 1 1/2, and your cut line should be lined up. We're going to put the blade down at 1. Make sure we're straight before we start cutting. Okay, I'm going to push it into the paper, and we're going to go down to 4 1/4. And you can often feel it when it hits that corner and comes off. So I didn't feel it that time, and you can see it's kind of still stuck on there, right? So I just need to find where I did with my snips. And I know I moved them. Oh no. Here they are. Okay, and we're just gonna come in and just snip that corner off. There we go. Okay, so this is the piece that we want here. This is scrap. So now what we're gonna do, and what we're doing is we're making our layers for our card, okay? So we're gonna cut these into 3 1/4 sections right now. So I'm gonna move it over till it's at 3 1/4, 3 1/4, straight, hold it tight, cut it, okay? Put this aside, and that's for later. Now I'm gonna move this over to 3 1/4, and this can be a little bit tricky because it will move on you. Hold them tight, trim, okay? We keep these for later. And then this one, instead of just cutting it at 3 1/4, we're gonna flip it around and then put it at 3 1/4. Okay, so line it up, hold it tight, cut it. All right, put that aside. These are scraps. These can go out in your bin. So now we're gonna take the 5 by 10, okay, and we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna cut out a rectangle. So we're gonna put it this way. We're going to line it up at 3/4 this time. So So 3/4 of an inch, line it up. And we're gonna line the blade up at 1 1/4. I can't see very well without putting my head in the camera. Okay, so 1 1/4, we're lined up, we're straight, we're at 1 1/4. I'm gonna push that in, and this time we're gonna go down to 8 1/2. Okay, so we're gonna come down to here, 8 1/2, lift it up, flip it over, line it up at 3 1/4, put it down, move your blade. I guess I can put my blade at 8 1/2 and go backwards. Okay, so my blade's at 8 1/2, and I'm gonna go up to 1 1/4. This is not a good idea doing it this way because I cannot see without putting my head in the camera. All right, I'm just going to come in and lift this up. There we go, I can see it now. There, okay, that was tricky. Hopefully it'll work. If not, I have scissors. All right, now we're gonna flip it across. So we have the 10-inch side along the top. We're gonna line it up at 1 1/4, and the way you check to make sure you're in the right spot is when we put the blade down at 3/4, it should be lined up with our cut here, which it is, so we're good. Okay, we're gonna stick it down and we're gonna cut it down to here, which will be at 4 1/4. Again, you can typically feel it when it hits that. Okay, so I wasn't perfectly lined up there. We'll deal with that after. So we're gonna go to line it up at 3 1/4, and I'm gonna put it in at 3/4. Okay. No, we're not doing that. Woo, good thing. We're putting it at 1 1/4, and then we're lining it up at 3/4. I almost ruined a piece of paper there. It's not. As they say when you're doing woodworking, check before you cut. Make sure you're in the right spot. All right. So again, I could feel that. So I'm gonna move my trimmer out of the way down here so I don't break it. And I'm gonna pull out my snips, and I'm gonna snip this corner here. Oh, I still need my trimmer back. There we are, and we can keep that piece for another card. Okay, and this time we're going to cut this in sections of 3 inches. So measure over to 3, hold it tight, give it a cut, put it to the side, move it over 3, hold it tight, give it a cut, put these to the side. And then again, we're going to flip it around, put it over to the 3, give it a cut, put that to the side. All right. So these are scrap. So now we're ready to put our card together. And it's very simple. All right. And so you can see how that will go there. These will go there. I cannot pick up anything. I don't know what's going on. And those will go along the top. Okay, so let's get out our Tombow and let's get gluing. Again, with Tombow, I don't think I'm in the camera here. With Tombow, you don't need a lot. Little is more. Okay, we're just gonna line it up do make sure that you're putting the right pieces together so that your ornaments are in the correct direction. Okay. And we just stick that on. There we are. And here we go. So if anyone is thinking of signing up as a demonstrator, and there's lots and lots of perks of being a demonstrator. One is we get to see new product and we get to buy it at a discount, and we get to buy it earlier than everybody else. So I am putting in an order today for some of the new stuff that we got to see yesterday. During Celebration is an excellent time to sign up. There's a lot of extra perks. So if you're thinking about it, if you spend about $100 a month on stamping stuff, then there's no reason why you shouldn't be a demonstrator. And even if you don't do classes, even if it's just to support your hobby, which is how I got started on it, it just makes sense to be a demonstrator just for your discount. So you can get up to 25% off by being a demonstrator. So if you have any questions, just reach out to your local demonstrator or to myself and I can help you out. All right, so there we go. How simple is that? Now to decorate this, and I probably should have done some stamping earlier, and I gotta find, because my desk is a mess. All right, so what we wanted to do, there's these two pieces that I forgot. So we have a Night of Navy, and this is at 2 3/4 by 3 1/4, and then we have a oh my goodness, very vanilla. My brain just went on vacation. Very vanilla of 2 1/2 by 3. Okay, and this will be our inside pieces here. Okay, and I'll just go in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp my sentiment. So for the sentiment, so the stamp set that we're using is the Christmas Gleaming stamp set, and I've used this bauble right here and the holly. And then for the sentiment, I needed something pretty small to fit on the inside. So I'm using the Itty Bitty Christmas, and I'm just very simple. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. All right, so I'm going to get out our Night of Navy. I'm going to stamp this over to the left so that I can fit the bauble on. Okay, make sure it's the right way around. You don't want to be stamping upside down. I always use these grid lines just to line up, so I know it's straight on here, and I line up so that I get it straight. Okay, so we have that. Now I have pre-stamped the holly, okay, because all I've done is stamped it in Versamark, and then I copper embossed it. So I heat embossed it with the copper, and then I've used the Old Olive blends here and colored in the leaves. And I'm going to show you a little trick to color in the berries. Okay, so this is the Delicata copper. Okay, it's the reinker. So you just give it a good shake, put a tiny little bit on a stamping block. You don't need much. And I'm just going to pick it up and paint. Okay, and just fill it in. That's all you do. All right, it doesn't take long. It dries pretty fast. It does take a little bit longer to dry than our normal ink, and you don't need very much A little tiny drop goes a long way. All right. And you just fill it in. You might want a better paintbrush than I have. Okay, isn't that beautiful? And then all you do is fussy cut them. So I made one here. All right, so we have that, we have this, and we have some baubles. Just trying to find my Night of Navy, or my Very Vanilla. All right, so we take Night of Navy with our baubles. So I'm gonna move this out of the way so I don't get ink all over it, because that is something that I would do. Okay, I'm just gonna do our baubles. We need 2 of them for this card. And then all I did, I'm not going to sit here and make you watch me do this, but all I did was I took the light Night of Navy blend and I just colored them. Okay, and that's all we did. And then we used the punch that comes with the set, and I punched them out somewhere. They're in my messy desk. Okay, so here we are. So we have 2 baubles. One of them, I took another piece of our copper foil and I just used the top of the punch here, and I just put in a little piece of foil up there and punched out a top, just to, because it looks a little funny having that. But this one's going to be hidden, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay, so now we just have to put this together. So glue it in. Stick it on here. Okay. And then we're going to put this in here. Just make sure it's centered. Okay. I like to do it like this so that I'm lined up. Because if it's off, it'll look funny. So if I just close it like this and just move it, that's why I'm using the tumble, because you have a couple seconds that you can move. Okay, so there you go. I'm going to take this one here that has the copper top, and I'm going to lay this one flat. Although I did pop it up on the last one. I'm just going to lay it flat for this one because I messed up, but it still looks okay. I think it looks good. This one I'm going to lay flat. I'm going to put this up at the front here. Okay. And then I am going to take my dimensionals and I'm going to pop up the holly. And I do want to cover where I didn't color, and just stick it like that. And there you go. How simple, and it's stunning. Not a lot of room to write, but I guess you could write on there if you wanted to, but it's just a really beautiful, beautiful card. So I hope you enjoyed this card, and I hope you join me next weekend. And we will probably be doing more Christmas next weekend. So have a great week, and I'll put the details of measurements below this post and link you also to my blog so you can look at some finished pictures. Thank you and have a great day. Bye-bye.